Cricket is a team sport, but sometimes one man, bat in hand, eyes locked on the scoreboard, can shift the entire game without saying a word. Before the fireworks of de Villiers or the swagger of Dhoni, there was Michael Bevan, the silent assassin. The man who made finishing an art form. This is his story. In cricket, greatness comes in many forms. Majestic openers, relentless pacers, wily spinners, master tacticians. We argue endlessly about who's the greatest in each of these roles. But when it comes to redefining a role, turning it into an art form and making it relevant in the modern era, there are only a handful of cricketers who stand apart. And among them, one name resonates louder than most when you talk about finishing an ODI innings: Michael Bevan. This isn't just a story of a man who scored runs. This is about a cricketer who gave meaning to a position in the batting order. Before Bevan, the concept of a finisher existed in theory. A luxury if you had one, a hope if you didn't, but he turned it into a science, a defined responsibility, and a game plan. Not with brute force, but with brains, patience, and unnerving calm. The landscape before Bevan. ODI cricket in the late 80s and early 90s followed a fairly rigid formula. Build the innings cautiously, keep wickets in hand, and explode at the end. But rarely did teams have a player who could consistently execute that final burst. More often than not, it was a gamble, and if it failed, the innings would collapse. Then came Michael Bevan. He wasn't the flashiest, he wasn't the loudest, and he wasn't the most celebrated name in the Australian team filled with big personalities. But once he walked out to bat, the game shifted. He didn't just play shots, he controlled time. He understood pace, pressure, and probability better than most, and he had the courage to take the game deep. The first statement, Sydney, January 1st, 1996. Bevan had been in and around the Australian team since 1994, but his real arrival came on the first day of 1996. The stage, SCG. The opposition, West Indies. The occasion, a rain hit Benson and Hedges World Series clash. Batting first, the West Indies posted 172 in 43 overs, a modest target, but Australia inexplicably imploded. By the 13th over, they were reeling at 38 for 6. The SCG crowd sat in stunned silence. Yet in the middle stood Michael Bevan, cool, composed, and unmoved by the chaos around him. He began the rescue act with Ian Healy, then built an 83-run partnership with Paul Rafel. He paced the innings like a surgeon, carefully, methodically. Then came the final over. Australia needed 5 to win. By the time the last ball came, they needed 4.
Was going through my mind, I was trying to work out where was the safest place I could hit a 4 and my best chance of hitting a 4. I had three options. I had over cover, where I would have to step back and give myself room and try and slash it over cover. The other area was over mid-wicket, and that way I'd just have to swing across the line of an off-spinner. I didn't really see that as being a safe shot. And then the other area was straight, and that was just straight back over the umpire's head.
Roger Harper bowled it full, a round leg stump. Bevan didn't slog, he didn't panic. He simply stepped back and punched it straight down the ground. The ball trickled past Harper, past the infield, and into the boundary. Australia had pulled off an impossible win. Bevan walked off unbeaten on 78. That night, a role was born, and a legend began. The forgotten classic, April 8, 2000. 4 years later, Bevan reminded everyone of his unmatched value in another dramatic chase. This time, in a charity ODI between the Asia 11 and the rest of the world 11. Asia 11, stacked with legends like Jayasuriya, Ganguly, Sachin, Vas, Murali, Wasim, and Razak, posted a daunting 320. The world 11 stumbled badly. No one seemed able to handle the Asian attack. But Bevan, calm as ever, kept ticking. As wickets fell at the other end, he accumulated, manipulated the field, and built a quiet storm. His final partner? England's Andy Caddick, more known for his bowling than any batting prowess. With 125 needed off 78 balls, the chase seemed done. But Bevan kept finding gaps. Caddick held one end. Bevan exploded only when it was absolutely necessary. With 19 needed off the final 5 balls, he hit 3 consecutive boundaries off Abdul Razak. With 6 needed off the last ball, Bevan smashed it toward long off, but it landed just short of the rope. World 11 lost by a single run. Bevan remained not out on 185 off 132, the third highest score in ODIs at the time. It was a knock in vain on the scoreboard, but not in memory. Even 25 years later, it remains a textbook example of controlled aggression, precision, and determination. Bevan's rise in context. Born in Belconnen, ACT, Bevan was the first Canberra-born player to represent Australia. He scored a century on his first-class debut for South Australia and later found a home at New South Wales. He made his ODI debut against Sri Lanka in 1994 in Sharjah, but it wasn't until the summer of 1996 that he truly cemented his place. That period from 1996 to 2004 saw Bevan become the linchpin of Australia's ODI middle order. He was there in the 1996 World Cup semi-final, rescuing Australia with a 69-run knock in a 207-run total after being 4 for 15. He added 36 not out in the final, although Sri Lanka won. He was part of Australia's World Cup wins in 1999 and 2003. During the 2003 edition, he played 2 particularly vital innings. Against England, Australia were 48 for 4, chasing 205. He formed a match-winning 70-run stand with Andy Bichelle, finishing unbeaten on 74. Then against New Zealand, Australia were 84 for 7. Bevan's composed 56 steered them to safety, numbers that speak volumes. By the time he retired, Bevan had played 232 ODIs, scored 6 centuries and 46 50s, and amassed 6,912 runs at an average of 53.58, a number that, for most of his career, hovered around the 60 mark. Among players with over 130 innings, only Virat Kohli has a higher career average. Bevan's legacy, the blueprint. Bevan didn't just finish matches. He laid the blueprint for what a finisher should be: calm under pressure, excellent runner between wickets, mentally resilient, and tactically sharp. In the years that followed, players like Lance Klusener added power to the role. MS Dhoni perfected the combination of power and poise. Mike Hussey brought Bevan-esque qualities with extra flair. A.B. de Villiers, Glenn Maxwell, David Miller. Just Buttler took finishing into a new explosive realm. For Sri Lanka, Russell Arnold came closest to mirroring Bevan's style. A soft-handed accumulator who knew how to take a game deep without brute force. And then there was Arjuna Ranatunga, not a finisher per se, but someone who, like Bevan, often manipulated the field and played with the psychology of the game in hand. The role today, in today's ODI landscape, finishing has largely become synonymous with power hitting. The finesse of Bevan's era is rarer, and the art he mastered is often overlooked. But ask any seasoned cricket mind, and they'll tell you, when the chips were down, if there was one man you'd want out there, it was Michael Bevan. He didn't need the spotlight. He let the scoreboard speak. So here's to the man who made finishing a discipline, a skill set, a job description. The man who changed how teams viewed the number 5 and number 6 roles forever. Happy 55th birthday, Michael Bevan, the pioneer, the craftsman, the original finisher.